The lights on the rooftop were warm. Tom's hands were cold. He stood near the edge, drink sweating in his palm, untouched. 20 feet away, 4 men in tailored jackets laughed at something only they understood. Tom watched the way they leaned into each other, easy, like gravity worked differently for them. He rehearsed the line in his head. "Hey, I loved what you said about scaling." He rehearsed it again and again. His feet didn't move. What if the problem isn't that they don't want to talk to you? What if it's how you're showing up? 6 months from now, Tom will be the one walking into a room like this, except this time, a man worth 9 figures will put a hand on his shoulder and introduce him to everyone by name. But that's later. Right now, Tom is invisible, and this is the night he learns why. Tom grew up watching success from a distance, through car windows, through magazine covers, through the gap between his bank account and everyone else's. He never approached people like that. You didn't approach the sun, you just squinted at it. So when his coworker got him on the list for tonight's mixer, Tom treated it like meeting celebrities. He practiced his handshake in the mirror. He Googled net worths in the Uber over. He rehearsed 3 different compliments, each one polished until it sounded less like a sentence and more like a performance. He walked in already small, shoulders curled forward, eyes scanning the room for permission to exist in it. Somewhere underneath all the rehearsing was one belief, quiet and certain. If I just say something impressive enough, they'll notice me. He found a group of 3 men near the bar and forced himself toward them. He smiled too early. He spoke too fast. "Hey, I just wanted to say, your last raise was incredible. I've been following it for months." One of the men glanced at him, gave the kind of half-smile people give a stranger who's interrupted something, then turned back to the conversation like Tom had never spoken at all. Tom stood there a second longer than he should have. Then he drifted away. He tried again, found someone standing alone, refilling a drink. Tom introduced himself, then immediately reached for the line he thought would open every door. "I'd love to pick your brain sometime." The man's expression didn't change much. He nodded, said something polite about being busy, and slid a business card across the bar top like he was closing a tab. Then he walked away, too. Tom looked down at the card. He didn't even remember the man's name. By 10 o'clock, Tom was in the corner, phone in hand, pretending to be busy so no one would see he wasn't talking to anyone. He replayed every interaction, the half-smile, the card, the silence after his own voice. "I'm not built for this world," he thought. He left early. In the elevator down, he deleted every photo he'd taken so there'd be no evidence he was ever there alone. The lobby was quiet, except for the hum of a floor buffer. A man in a gray uniform was working the far corner, guiding the machine in slow, even lines. Tom didn't plan to say anything. It just came out. "Rough night?" he muttered, mostly to himself. The man looked up. "Networking event?" Tom nodded. "Yeah, I can always tell," the man said, switching off the buffer. "You walk out of those things looking like you lost a fight nobody saw." Tom let out a tired laugh. The man introduced himself as Ray, said he used to run corporate events for a living before he ended up here. 15 years of watching rooms just like the one upstairs, from every angle there was. Tom told him everything, the compliments, the card, the silence. Ray nodded slowly, like he'd heard this story 100 times before, wearing 100 different faces. "Nobody in there is impressed by being impressed," he said. "They're impressed by people who make their life easier." Tom blinked. "What do you mean?" "You walked in there acting like a fan. Fans take. They want a photo, an autograph, a piece of someone else's shine. But the people in that room, they're not looking for fans. They're looking for peers who bring something to the table." He called it status mirroring. Not arrogance, not desperation, just matching the room's energy. Calm, unhurried, like you belong because you already decided you do. Then he called it value injection. Every conversation lead with something useful, not a question, not a favor, something the other person walks away from richer than they came in. "You spent the whole night asking for value," Ray said. "Nobody in there owes you that, but everybody in there wants more of what works." Tom sat with that for a long moment. Ray clicked off the lights in the lobby section by section, then paused. "Funny thing," he said, "I've still got 3 numbers in my phone from guests tonight, people I helped out over the years. I could make one introduction, but only if you come back different than you walked in tonight." Tom spent the next 2 weeks not rehearsing handshakes. He spent them researching real interests, real overlaps, real problems he could actually help solve. He called it interest stacking, finding the place where someone else's world and his own actually touched. He returned to a different event weeks later. Same kind of room, same kind of crowd. But Tom walked in differently this time. No script in his head, no countdown before approaching anyone. He found a founder by the window and opened with an observation about her product, not a compliment about her bank account. He shared something useful, an article, a connection, a sharp insight that had nothing to do with what he wanted from her. She looked at him a beat longer than people usually did. "Wait, have we met before?" They had, months ago, at an event where Tom had said nothing worth remembering. This time, she asked him a question first. Before the conversation ended, Tom didn't ask for anything. Instead, he offered her a name, someone in his own small circle who could help with a problem she'd mentioned in passing. The Referral Loop. Give before you're asked. She paused, surprised. Then she offered to introduce him to 2 people across the room, the exact thing he'd been chasing for months, except this time it came looking for him. Tom understood something that night that no amount of rehearsing could have taught him. The room was never closed. He had just been knocking on it the wrong way, banging, instead of standing tall and walking in like he was already supposed to be there. Status mirroring earns the room's respect. Value injection earns its attention, and the referral loop is what keeps you in it long after the night is over. Months later, Tom stood at another event, not as the nervous one this time, but near the door where he spotted a kid barely out of college, drink untouched, watching a circle of people from a distance too far to cross. Tom walked over, didn't lead with a compliment, just an opening, the same one Ray had once given him in an empty lobby. "Rough crowd to break into, huh?" The kid looked up, surprised someone noticed him at all. Tom smiled. He had a story to pass forward. If there's ever been a room that made you feel invisible, drop it in the comments below. Chances are the next room is closer than you think. You just haven't learned how to knock yet.